killer Jodi Arias saw me as her boyfriend, says the lawyer forced to defend her at trial for the murder of lover Travis Alexander after an all-day sex marathon. That lawyer, Kirk Nurmi, says Arias, true to form, tried to manipulate even him throughout the trial by flirting with Nurmi nonstop, even spouting out details about her, quote, vaginal grooming. Those are her words, not mine.
You ended up in his bed, right?
I think it was a love sack.
Did you love Matt?
Very much. Yeah, I was in love with him.
You fell in love with Daryl.
Yes.
That was okay, right?
I'm single.
We were kissing, and then she eventually kind of grabbed me, and that's when she got on top of me.
Joining me right now is the man, Kirk Nurmi, author of Trapped with Miss Arias. I thought it was a typo, but I believe I see a part 1 at the end of that. It's like Scary Movie or Sharknado. You know, there's got to be a sequel. Former attorney for Jodi Arias. Kirk, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for having me.
You know, I gave you a lot of HELL during the trial. I'm sure you heard about that. It was largely focused at Miss Arias. I'm deeply intrigued by your book, Trapped with Miss Arias. So do you believe, and I'm going to get into the details, but Kirk, do you believe that she was, first of all, you're married, right?
Yes, ma'am. About 22 years, going on 23.
Good to know. Good to know. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Because I doubt your wife took very kindly to the flirtation that you're describing in this book. But that's another can of worms that I'm going to get to. So do you believe, Kirk, that Jodi Arias was using sex, not that you two ever had sex, but sexuality to manipulate you to do what? That's my question. You were already defending her.
Well, there's a couple things I would say about that. As one of the things I point out in the book is that I believe Miss Arias was a victim of sexual abuse. Her mannerisms, her behavior, the way she expressed herself was consistent with that. There were certainly times, not just her sexuality, but as I talk about in the book, you know, threats that she's going to badmouth me if I don't do what she wants, things of that nature, to try to manipulate me into whatever she had in mind. So we're talking, when you ask the question, manipulate into what, we're talking about a 5-year span of time. So whatever was on her mind at that particular time.
You know, one thing, for instance, Kirk Nurmi, you say that you did not think it was advisable to trash Travis Alexander, i.e. say that, I can understand the defense strategy of saying he hit me first, he started this and I was responding. Okay, that's how it all started. But then to say that he was a would-be child molester, that he just really was a sordid character, it's my understanding that you did not think that that was a good strategy.
Well, Nancy, you know, one of the things I point out in the book is that the ultimate job of myself as and my team as a defense attorney is to save the client's life. Allegations such as this would obviously have a tendency to turn the jury against her, and ultimately, as we know, with the fascination in the case, the entire world against her. My concern was the effect that assertions like this would have on her ultimate sentence. One of the things I point out in the book is that I think I would have had a much easier time saving her life had this been a girl with no priors who got involved in this heated sexual relationship and went crazy over 2 or 3 minutes in time. It would have been much easier to save her life.
Much easier. Because, Kirk, if you had gotten a jury up there and you had had a woman or a man on the jury that had gotten extremely angry with a boyfriend, a husband, a lover, whatever, and for a few moments, like, I don't know, slash their tires or egg their house or slap them, just something that is not acceptable and not okay, if you had channeled into that anger, that may have been a strategy, not that I believe any of it's true, or the strategy that she started with, I think, he was the aggressor. But to say he molested children and to attack his core as a person, who he was, I think that derailed the whole thing. Forget about that. You say that Jodi Arias actually tried to discuss her vaginal grooming with you. Her words, not mine. Now, I never thought when I was going through law school or trying to get on law review that that would be my topic of discussion, but it is. So, is that correct, that she would actually discuss her vaginal grooming with you? And I thought you two were talking about trial strategy.
Well, you know, certainly the sexual aspects of her relationship with Mr. Alexander, as I point out in the book, were fair game or fertile ground for discussion. For whatever reason, at that point in time, Miss Arias decided to take it one step further and talk about that subject, if you will. You know, to me, I wasn't shocked by it. I've been around the block. I've been a criminal defense attorney for more than 12 years at that point in time. I'd handled a lot of cases of sexual nature. And ultimately, to me, as sensational as it is to talk about, it was just another sign to me that she was a victim of sexual abuse.
Okay, so you think she was a victim of sexual abuse. You know, Mr. Nurmi, at a time when she had, with her own bare hands, murdered Travis Alexander, for whatever reason she thought she was justified in doing that, I hardly think the state of her vaginal grooming is shocking. What was shocking to me was the slit from one ear to the next. You know, I'm not really concerned with her vagina, okay? I'm more concerned with his body slumped over in that shower, and I'm sure you were more concerned about how you were going to save her life. But here is a moment that really sticks in my memory, Mr. Nurmi. Take a listen.
Holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth.
Did you kill Travis Alexander?
Yes, I did. He called me a skank. He called me porn star.
It's you. I wanted to cover you up because that's you. All of you.
That looks like me.
9 days out of 10, I don't like short hair.
You know which pictures to show you. Where's that one?
That looks like me. I mean, Kirk Nurmi, everybody, is Jodi Arias' forced defense lawyer. How many times did this guy try to get off the trial? Did you just hear her right there, Kirk? His book, Trapped with Miss Arias, she's saying, yeah, that kind of looks like me. Hello, you're butt naked, lying on the bed with a close-up shot. It's you, Jodi Arias. It's you, all right? And hey, if you want to take naked pictures of yourself, that's fine with me. But then to tell a cop, yeah, that could be me. It's you. So please describe how you believe. Okay, Liz, we've seen it. Thanks. You can take it down. How you believe Jodi Arias manipulated you, other than, of course, talking about her vaginal grooming.
I don't think she did. I think she tried. I mean, I think we have, you know, the incident when I tried to get off the case and she tried to make sure that I remained on the case, which happened, which goes to my title in April 2004, being trapped with her.
Why did you want off the case?
Well, you know, I was assigned the case back in 2009 as a public defender. I didn't really know what it was. We don't really have choices when we're a public defender. When I wanted to leave the office, I wanted to be done with doing capital work, and also I kind of saw where this case is going. I had about over a year under my belt with Miss Arias at the time, and I could see where this case was going. I knew what kind of result this would have on me.
Wait. It sounds like you're saying you wanted off the case because you knew she was going to get convicted. And I don't believe that about you because, hey, the public defenders most of their clients do get convicted because they're guilty. So give it to me in a nutshell, Kirk Nurmi. Kirk Nurmi.
Well,
why did you want off the case?
Well, I'm not saying that I wanted off the case because I thought she was guilty. What I'm saying is I wanted off the case because I had a sense of what it would become in terms of the media exposure, in terms of what she was going to do. And I didn't want to be a part of it. I didn't want to do capital work anymore. I wanted to move into private practice.
Got it. Dr. Lee Norman is with us, the Chief Medical Examiner, University of Kansas Hospital. Dr. Norman, thank you so much for being with us. Travis Alexander was stabbed many, many times. He was shot, and the most gruesome attack was slitting his throat from ear to ear. Now, assuming that the stab wounds were before and after the throat slashing, how long could he have lived after the throat slashing? I mean, I know he made it to the sink and saw himself in the mirror because the blood suggested that it dropped down into the sink in front of the mirror.
Well, there's a lot of vital structures in the neck, obviously, arteries and veins most particularly, and yet a person can be cognizant of what's going on for a minute or two. Their brain doesn't shut down completely just because the body is being drained of its blood. Wow.
So a minute or two of complete torture. Dr. Ramani Devasula, psychologist, LA, you're hearing Kirk Nurmi describe Jodi Arias' attempted manipulation of him. You know, you'd think, Romney, that if you want off the case, just get off. But it's not that easy, Dr. Romney. The judge wouldn't let him off. So what does that do to you when you're stuck with somebody like Jodi Arias and you can't get away?
I mean, it can really feel like you're in a spider's web, literally. And we know, we've watched this trial so carefully. Jodi Arias really was a master manipulator. It's how she worked through the world. She was very sexualized in how she dealt with people. So, I mean, I think his experience must have felt like literally the walls were closing in on him, and there's no getting out. It can feel claustrophobic. It can feel panicky, and yet he had to do his job. So this is what Jodi Arias was good at, and she did it well with everybody. She's likely still doing it in prison.
Speaking of, Valerie Perezzo, KFYI, there are reports she's getting special treatment behind bars?
There are reports that she's getting special treatments behind bars, and apparently one of the inmates asked her little sister to share the message. She says Jodi Arias is getting different things, like all the wardens greet her. She has carpet in her room. She has a TV in the rec room. But prison officials have come out and said that isn't true. They said she does get outside yard activity by herself.
Oops, hold on. Kirk Nurmi, trapped with Miss Arias. You know, I really respect you staying on the trial as much as you wanted to get away. Your book is fascinating, and I'll try to reserve my caustic comments for Miss Arias and not you. Best with your book, Trapped with Miss Arias. With us tonight, Kirk Nurmi.